Their aura is unequal.
Well, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Or whatever. And make it a little more raspy, and I follow directions.
Their contents are legendary.
Like that little sheet you see is his concept drawing.
Their attitude is embraced. Tune in to one of the most up and rising kaiju-sized groups within our community. So go ahead and watch all of their creative content, including that of the Raw Attitude live interview, where they have special guests ranging from actors, directors, toy creators, artists, and many, many more. You can also find them on multiple of other social media platforms, ranging from Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. You could even sit back and watch your favorite classic monster movie and even watch us go through one of the most iconic games on Twitch. Featuring your hosts, Eric Stowe, Adrian Settle, Joe Myers, Samson West, Jordan Adorno. They are the Monsters with Attitude.
What's going on, listeners of Attitude? Today, the crew Monster of Attitude comes at you today with a brand new show. Today, we're going to be talking about 20 years of the giant monkey himself that Jordan absolutely loves with his every dearest of heart. We'll be talking about Peter Jackson's love story to the original King Kong. As has been mentioned a few times before, this is my favorite King Kong movie, so I'm really excited to talk about this today and get everyone's thoughts on it. But before we do that, of course, we got to introduce everybody. Of course, the beardiest kaiju of them all, Eric Stowe. Eric, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It'll be an interesting conversation because it seems like there's like a love-hate for Kong now, especially since they brought him into like MonsterVerse Godzilla. And and obviously this has nothing to do with the MonsterVerse. This is its own movie, a remake of the original. It was a kind of a love letter from Peter Jackson to the original, but it's just kind of weird that we have this love-hate, and but it'll be interesting to see what everybody's opinions are about this, especially I'm ready to share mine because I recently just rewatched it on our Twitch channel. Thank you to Samson, and it's been 20 years since I've actually watched it. I watched it in theaters, and the first time finally watching it again was literally this past couple of weeks, and finally got a refresher of it. So I got thoughts, and can't wait to share them.
I think we're all excited to hear about your thoughts on it because 20 years is a long time.
Yeah, that's an interesting segue. You have the most interesting arc there, waiting 20 years to see this movie and have different opinions. Two decades worth of opinions.
And of course, our resident Kong hater, the Don himself, Jordan. How are you doing today, good sir?
I cannot wait to bash the living crap out of this movie. No, but of course, I am always humbled and glad to be on with you guys. It is the highlight of my week. So, it's funny. I was at work clocking out, and everyone's looking at me because they already know what this month's show was going to be about, and they're looking at me chuckling. They're like, "Hey, dude, you ready for your monthly show today, buddy?" And all I'm like, this is my face clocking out. In the badge, and just dipped out. And I'm like, screw you guys. But I do have opinions to many tuning in, including you guys. It might surprise you guys. Others, to the rest, it just may not be a shocker. But,
Well, Jordan, definitely ready to hear your differing opinion from everybody else. That's going to be interesting to hear.
Yeah.
Of course, the man that wants to be on the East Coast but has audacity to have West in his last name, Samson. How are you doing?
I do be is here, you guys. I do be is here. And I'm ready to talk about this one as well. It's interesting to have, y'all were saying love letter. That's a very good way of putting it, to the original 33 King Kong. Basically just getting a modern day adaptation, but 20 years ago. So it's almost like due for another remake. All right, well, let's see. 33 to 2005. That was what, 70 something? Okay, we got a while before we remake King Kong again.
I don't think we need another remake of Kong.
I mean, we kind of already did. We had Via Skull Island. I mean, that was kind of a new, fresher look on Kong and transcended to the MonsterVerse. So
yeah.
Okay, sure, fine, whatever.
Oh my god. And of course, we have the man of course, our special guest, we have the man who reports on these kaiju himself, Nicholas Poland. Nick, how are you doing today, good sir?
It's good to be here. Looking forward to the discussion about some King Kong 2005. I think I might be the eldest in this group who did see this in the theaters in 2005. And a lot to say about it. Of course, I've also been an avid fan of Peter Jackson. So, I got a lot to say about him and his background and all the creators that go into this. Of course, I'm the host of the Monster Reports, not just necessarily kaiju. I do love my kaiju, love my Godzilla, Varan, all of them, everything that comes from Japan. But I also love me some American monsters. I love me some Harryhausen, anything that is monster related. I even like, Motu, Master of the Universe. There's monsters in that. Star Wars, there's monsters in that. So I'll talk about any monsters. I always do go back to my, the first love, which is Godzilla. But Godzilla, Kong, the match made in heaven, sometimes in hell. And, this film, I've got so much to talk about. I've recently, again, rewatched it, the extended release, and, carved out a huge amount of time for it. I thought it was already long to begin with, but it was even longer because Peter Jackson could do that. He could take one book called The Hobbit and make it into 9 hours worth of film. I mean, goodness, what is this guy's, and how does he get away with it? Because he's Peter Jackson. So good to be here, host the Monster Report. Please like and subscribe. And of course, like and subscribe right here to Monsters with Attitude. Follow them all on the socials out there. And Samson, I know you do the Twitch thing too, and that's awesome. And just keep up with what you're doing, guys. I love supporting other kaiju content creators. And I think you got a great thing going here. And I'm just honored to be here with you guys.
Oh,
absolutely. I'm happy to have you, Nick.
Yeah, no, we knew that the movie was long, so we broke it up into 2 separate viewings, and we found a comfortable stopping point last Saturday. It was directly after the T-Rex fight, which is exactly 2 hours into the film, leaving us with yesterday, just the remainder, which is a comfortable hour and 20 minutes, a show of film's worth of movie content. So yeah, we cut it in half. We didn't do one entire 3.5 hour sit down for this one.
Goodness. Oh. Give me a few restroom breaks in there. Try it in the theater years ago. It's like there's no natural break in it. There was no overture or intermission in that theater. You just like, do I stick around or do I catch it on re-watching, which I did. Yeah, I think I saw this about 3 times in the theaters when it was new.
Oh, okay.
But,
Yeah, I think I had the same issue. I think I missed a few pivotal points during my viewing theaters. I was only like 14, so I had no choice. I had to go to the bathroom, but I was like really, like I have to go again. How long is this movie? And I got out and it was nighttime. I was like, oh, okay.
This is why I do not do concessions. No drinks, no snacks, nothing that's going to make me have to go to the bathroom. Ever. I don't do it.
Usually I don't either, but I may eat beforehand, or depending what time it is, I'll eat after, but still. That and Zack Snyder's Justice League are the exceptions.
Oh yeah, that movie exists. Yeah, but we got a better DC now.
Starting with you, Eric. Eric, you go through the comments, please, in the chat. Who's here in the chat with us today before I cut steps?
Yeah, let's see who wants to talk to us today.
Let's see. First off, we got Michael Sante. What's going on, man? He's got the movie playing in the background. That's awesome. What a way to hear our discussion and view the movie at the same time. Very, very smart.
Michael.
Yeah.
He says, hi, this movie is a masterpiece. The Xbox 360 game is great. I love the beautiful sunset scene, great cast, soundtrack, and creature effects. My 3 fave Kong movie, 2 Skull Island, 1 King Kong Lives. Oh, okay. So it's number 3 on his list.
Oh, so yeah, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
So then we got T-Pack. What's going on, man? King Kong 05 stage juggler experienced severe Stockholm syndrome with a 25-foot gorilla who is somehow light enough to sit on a mildly frozen pond without it caving in. Funny you say that because I think Samson was saying something similar to that while we were watching the movie. So
we sure did.
DJC, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining us.
Hey,
Hey. Ray2D2, what's going on? Isaiah, what is up? Fanciest of cats. Almost a full cave of bears. Joe must be out catching salmon for the long winter. I think he is. He is. And of course, Leslie chiming in here. What's going on, buddy? Great to see you. He says, yeah, we don't need a remake of King Kong like Samson and Jordan. Don't need X Plus Gigantic Series figures, apparently. Don't start no shit.
Whoa.
Us don't start no shit. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
This is how we know Leslie loves us.
Absolutely.
Yep, exactly.
And I may be the eldest, but Leslie and I share a birthday, October 6th. Happy birthday.
What?
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Well, happy belated birthday to you fine fuckers, guys.
Who was born first, though? Who's technically older?
Well,
right.
Leslie's older. We same days, not the same year. Good. Leslie.
Wow. Just calling the brother old, why don't you? Yeah, okay.
Love you, Leslie.
I don't know. You're like, damn, I didn't know. I didn't say same year. God, ooh,
no, definitely not.
Nice. I like the mic drop.
I gotta say, he'll age more gracefully than I will. I have 5 kids.
Adrian, what's the phrase? Black on crack? Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
Jesus.
Oh, get this. All right, so let's get into this wonderful movie, this wonderful show. So,
right on.
Of course, in 2005, epic adventure monster film, co-written, produced, and directed by Peter Jackson. It is the 9th entry in the King Kong franchise and the 2nd remake of the 1933 film of the same title, first being the 1976 remake, which we'll be talking about next year, ironically. Set in 1933, it follows the story of an ambitious and unscrupulous filmmaker who tricks his cast and hired ship crew into traveling to mysterious Skull Island. They encounter various prehistoric creatures and a legendary giant gorilla known as Kong, whom they capture and take to New York. So, of course, as I previously mentioned, this film is supposed to be a love letter to the original, so it's not really too much difference between the two films. We'll get into that in just a second. But what was everybody's introduction to this film? Eric, I'll let you go first.
Well,
like I said, and I've said multiple times, like I went and saw this in theaters. Obviously it was advertised. I had been a Kong fan. I had seen the 33 film, had it on VHS. So I knew of Kong. For my whole childhood. So I was excited to know that they were remaking or making another King Kong movie at the time. So I was excited. It was just basically, it came out, I went to theaters, and I saw it, I wanted to see it. And, but I remember going to theaters, it was one of the longest days for theater watching because that same time I went and saw King Kong. And then right after that, the showing after, I went to go see Narnia The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which was another like 2
hang on,
45-minute movie. And
let me look it up.
I went back to back, and I was like, wow, I'm never doing this again, because that was a lot. I was spent after that, and that was only 2 movies. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So yeah, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to have like an all-day kind of movie-going experience, and both films were out in theater. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch both of them. So I watched both of them for the first time in theaters, back to back, like I said, and it was a lot of fun. But man, that was a long movie. My butt was numb. Probably 2 hours into it, I was like, okay, I'm tossing and turning here, because this is kind of getting rough. And then I literally only get to stand for about 10 minutes to walk across to the other theater and sit back down for another long movie. So it was something, but I'll never forget it, because it was such a great experience, and just something that I wanted to do, and it was just a lot of fun, honestly, for how much agony my body went through. I take that memory with me always, and I'll cherish it, honestly. So yeah, I saw it right away when it came out. So it was
Narnia was 2.5 hours. So yeah,
dude literally sat through almost 6 hours of just movie watching.
Fantasy.
Yeah.
I gotta applaud you, dude.
It was a cinematic adventure.
Literally,
it was.
All right, Joe,
And then you had to go home and do your homework and come back to reality.
Yeah, that's the part that would suck.
Or I don't know how old you were in 2005, so I don't know what you were doing.
I was 10. So I actually waited for this movie to come out on TV. I'm just kidding. I was my grandparents gifted me for Christmas to go and watch that movie. Where my grandparents live, it's relatively extremely close to a movie theater that's in a mall around their area. And my grandparents were like, you know what? We're gonna walk there. And it was snowing. It was just like, the Christmas weather. We go there, and I don't want to, go too in depth with my experience with the movie, because the experience I had then is still, something that I tie a lot with this movie, watching it now. But coming back, it was just like, I found it so ironic that at the end of the movie, it was snowing, and I walk out, it was still freaking snowing. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like the dude got nuked right next door to me. Overall, it was a core childhood memory, believe it or not, that I would never forget. At the time, with them promoting the movie and stuff like that, this was a movie, believe it or not, that I was extremely excited to watch. Just because, again, been on hiatus with Godzilla stuff. So to see another giant monster IP come to life, and in that of a theatrical release, I was extremely hyped. I gotta find it and send it to you guys. My mom took a picture with me in my grandparents' living room, and I guess they had bought me like a King Kong 2005 sweatshirt to go along with taking me to the movies and stuff like that. That shirt's probably in the garbage, I'm not gonna lie, but it was still a core memory that I still hold with me. And pertaining to the movie, I won't say nothing until we go further in depth with your questions, Adrian.
Okay. Samson?
Funny enough, I mean, I imagine I saw it in theaters, but I don't have a vivid memory of seeing it in theaters. I more so have a memory at Toys R Us looking at the wall of figures, because they had so many toys to coincide with the marketing for this film, and I had most of them. But yes, I'm certain I did see it back in 2005. 14. So I was a teenager, but still the mindset of a 6-year-old, which kind of still stands. And yeah, the toys, I had like most of them, man. There was the big Kongs, there was all little 6-inch ones with a button on the back that would make them swing and stuff. All the little accessories and fun stuff. And I got a lot of it for Christmas because the movie did come out December of 2005.
Yeah, same
here,
dude.
It was a holiday film. So yeah, I think my dad, I do remember my dad is the one that brought me, because he is the cinematic lover. Me and him, whenever we talk on the phone still today, we will just talk about monsters, horror, sci-fi. We are pretty much twins. I'm a little carbon copy of my dad. So my dad is the one that brought me to see it back in 2005. And I need to actually ask him, hey, do you remember better about when that movie came out? Because I know he brought me, and he could probably tell me more about me going and seeing it than I can, weirdly enough. So, but yeah, 2005, saw a movie, then had to go home and do homework before the Christmas break.
Oh yeah, I'm so upset about that, Samson.
It was awful. I just wanted to stay on Skull Island forever. Oh, in the game. Okay. Everybody, we'll just get somebody else. Nick, it's your turn.
Yeah.
Keep it simple and short. I was actually 24 at the time, so I was definitely out of school at that time. So no homework, but I was a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And so Peter Jackson, I was reading the magazines, checking out anything I could, and absorbing everything about Lord of the Rings, and learning about Peter Jackson's prior films and his love of monsters and horror films and things. So I was locked into what he was doing. So anytime he had a public interview, I do remember of hearing for the first time when people were asking him, what's your next project? What's it going to be? Because it's like, how do you top the Lord of the Rings? And he's like, I don't know if I could top this, but I think the next project might be King Kong, guys. And I was completely, over the hill, just excited about that. And I was like, when is this going to happen? Because I knew what a monster fan he was. Then I learned more and more about what a monster fan he was. And, of course, the Lord of the Rings, in my opinion, are one of the greatest masterpiece trilogies of all time. And, and I still love, my Star Wars and things, but I think the Lord of the Rings just kind of like blew them out of the water with what he did with those films. And so I was like, what is he going to do with the King Kong franchise? And I was so excited to see it. We'll get into, how I reacted to it. But yeah, that was my first experience with it in the theaters, three times seeing it in theaters. I wish I had that kind of time now. I'm getting older and getting out to the theaters, and 5 kids. It's like, getting to see it once is wonderful. I would like to see this in the theater if it does get re-released in the theaters. They've been bringing back, some classics and not so classics. I mean, I even saw GVK, after a year, it came back in the theaters actually. And I was like, well, why not? Let's go ahead and see it. And it's like, it's not that old, but see it again on the big screen. There's not much else that was coming out of Hollywood that was good. So I'll see it again. So if this one comes out in the theaters again, yeah, I'll see it again. And, obviously at that point, I won't have to worry about the bathroom breaks because I have seen this film. I know I'm not going to miss anything, but I do wonder if we put out the extended, deluxe version of it that's even longer than it was in its theatrical release. But that was it. Yeah, when I was 24 in 2005, seeing it in theaters 3 times, and then getting it on DVD. Now they've got the Blu-ray release of the extended edition and all the extras. I've checked out the bonus feature. Yeah. Well, and I was gonna say the extended with all the well,
that's what's on this.
Oh, is that the extended? Okay. And I was gonna say the other disc that has all the logs that they were doing, the video logs of going around in first unit, second unit. Just a really cool, behind the scenes with Peter Jackson, with Andy Serkis. At one time, he gets the camera, and it just kind of goes nuts from there. So it's wonderful to kind of see, behind the scenes of what's going on with that crew.
Mine only has the 1 disc, but it does have the extended version on it. So you can, it like right before the movie starts, it gives you the option that says extended theatrical.
Awesome.
And, so yeah, that's what we did between last weekend and this weekend. So that's why we definitely broke it up into two separate pieces. So yeah.
All right. So as I mentioned previously, since Peter Jackson literally said in the documentary for 1933's King Kong, he said in there that the reason he made 2005 Kong was to be a love letter to the original film. And even though there wasn't a whole bunch of differences, there were a few. So even though there were some differences between the two films, do y'all believe that this was a good retelling of the classic film? Nick, I'll let you go first on this one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we didn't, rewrite the story. I mean, it still does the beginning, end, and beginning, middle, and end the same way. Though this is a weird one because it's hard to say that this is a 3-act story because you're almost like seeing a movie about New York, a movie about a boat, a movie about Skull Island, a movie about New York after Skull Island. And it's just like so many, like you could split this up into 4 different movies by itself. But as far as a good retelling, yes, you've got all the same names. You've got Aaron Andero, Jack Driscoll. You've got Carl Denham. All of the captain, even the captain's name's the same. The Venture, is the same.
Mm-hmm.
They tried, of course, to get Fay Ray to do a cameo in this. Unfortunately, she passed away before that would have happened. Yeah, so she would have actually been at the end. With the line about Beauty killing the Beast. And so, yeah, that was unfortunate. So yeah, it has a lot of that, and it does have a lot of nods to the 76 film, which we can always get into as well. But this one really tried to make sure that the fans of the original tried to make sure that they not just got the nostalgia of it, but a new retelling. But obviously we're in color rather than black and white. So what would that what are we going to do with that? Because we could just do, almost shot for shot, but now it's in color. We're going to do more with it. And so it did bring out more of the emotions, of course, whereas, the characters in the original are a little bit 2-dimensional, maybe even one-dimensional and at times. So this one, with the advent of color and, just the big budget visual effects and Peter Jackson's take on it, of course, it's going to have some changes made to it, expanded beyond what it needed to be. But yes, I would say this is an absolute great retelling of the classic. And Peter Jackson definitely knew how to go into this with the right mindset, with the, fans in mind of this IP, and that it wasn't just a cash grab. It was definitely a love letter.
Thank you, Nick. Samson, what do you think? What's your thoughts on this?
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree because they could have gone in any direction they wanted to, but they stuck with the exact same setting. They stuck with 1933 with that same old-timey period as the original film itself. They just basically copy and pasted from just that era, and just the flow of the film is awesome. Yes, it is long, but Peter Jackson likes to do that because he wants to cram as much storytelling as possible. And Nick, I love what you said. It's true. There's 4 movies in one. You got all right. Let's see Anne's introduction to New York, and then let's hang out on the boat for about an hour, and then okay, let's adventure through Skull Island. Which actually, that's almost 5 separate films. You have the adventurers going through Skull Island, then we have Kong and Anne's relationship on Skull Island, then we come back to New York City. But I do love the time period. I love that they took the 33 concept and brought it to modern day as best as they could. And it really did feel like 33 with all the vehicles and the like even what do you call it? Times Square with all the different advertisements and stuff, like all the old timey things up on the marquees and whatnot, and the font and the weaponry that the adventurers had. It was great. I thought it was great, and it brought that more modernized view to it, like especially color, as Nick said. The sunset, which is one of the most beautiful shots in the film, that wouldn't look good in black and white. There's nothing really to see with the beautiful colors of the clouds and stuff through the sunset. And I think this is a great retelling of the 33 Kong. Albeit some of the CGI gets a little like from time to time, but regardless, yes, they did a good job.
Jordan?
No, listen, I think honestly, this specific movie, amongst a plethora of retelling of original classic films, is probably one of the best retellings of the original 33 movie. With, obvious features that make it, its own unique separate movie. One of them being, Andero's and Kong's relationship that was established throughout the movie. In the 33 film, we didn't get that. Kong was more of a monster in the original 33, whereas this one, you sympathize with Kong. And I kind of believe that this was also a movie where, at least for the character that was Kong, or that is Kong, was the overall stature of what a lot of people then have, some type of relationship towards him, starting from this specific movie. I mean, the scenes in Skull Island, oh my God. In my opinion, they triumphed the original 33 movie. Everything was done in ways that, like I said, this is one out of very few other newer movies that are retellings of original ones that stay true to the core memory that was what they were trying to gun for. I don't know if this is going to be another topic. The characters in the movie, that's a whole nother separate topic. I personally,
it is. We got that.
Deep dive into that whenever you ask that question. But they did wonders trying to recreate what was Kong in the original 1933 film in 2005.
Okay. Eric?
It really was. What this film did is it accentuated everything that I think Cooper and what's his name, Shoulder Stack wanted to do from the 33. Peter Jackson was such a big fan, such a lover of the film, and he's not afraid to admit it. This is his favorite film that he's ever seen and probably will ever see. But you could just see and tell that it was a labor of love, because he took what the 33 gave us and he just went and took it farther. Took it farther as in like gave us scenes that were supposed to be in the original that never made it the original. If you kind of know. We might touch on that a little bit later. But that is a big thing. Like there was, and that's not even just like one, like there's several different scenes that were added to this movie that they wanted to do, but this didn't have budget or didn't have time to do it, and that speaks volumes, because it to him, in his eyes, he's just giving this proper representation and this spotlight to this character that he thought that it should have gotten back in the day, but they did such a great job back in the day in 33 that like still left an impression on everybody. But he was like, what if, in this movie that I'm going to do, what if they had that stuff back then? Like what even more of an impression it would have done. So he just took it so many steps farther and just made it just a great retelling of this character, honestly, and even went even more into the characters, because obviously you can only get so much in a little over an hour movie, in 1933. This obviously you have it 3 times as long. Now I will admit I think it's a little excessive with the time. There is a lot of things that could have been cut down and made it shorter and just made it kind of a bit more streamlined and flowed a little bit better. But I understand why he did what he did and why he felt like the need to put in certain things and focus on certain things, because a lot of it we didn't get what we got in 33. So like he was just, just showing, hey, I wanted to show appreciation for what they could have done, and this is what their image could have looked like if they would have had time and money. So kudos to him. Obviously, it showed that he was a big fan. A lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money put into this film. It was one of the highest budgeted movies and at its time, especially at Universal. So it was pretty crazy that they did this. And you know, he didn't even stop. You know, he wanted to release this film early.
Oh, did he freeze?
Than when he did. But because just couldn't do it, or the Are you interrupting me?
You froze for a second.
Yeah,
you froze for like
a minute.
5 solid seconds.
Oh, good.
Sorry,
good,
so
good.
I might have interrupted you on your end, but we couldn't hear you at all. You were like just
Oh, great. Great. Well, hopefully most of the stuff that I was blabbering about actually people heard, but hopefully. But yeah, I'll just kind of cut it short now. Is that, you know, it just was a labor of love. It was just a film of appreciation and just a lot of things. So.
Thank you, Eric. Which I'm actually going to come back to you on this next question.
The budget, because we were talking about it. Yeah, I had to look it up. 207 million.
Yep.
So, and I looked at the original one real quick. It was 675,000. So, yeah. Well, I mean, 1933, $600,000 was like, ugh.
Yeah, that's a big chunk of change you're carrying right there.
But you know, like I said, like in 2005 at Universal, that was the biggest budgeted movie they'd ever done. You know, so like it was a big step for them to feel like it's okay. But I think obviously because of what Lord of the Rings did and gave us, they felt comfortable. Hey, here's all this money. You can do whatever you want to this film. We're okay because you have the credentials to make this something special. So,
absolutely. So even though I did mention this is and Eric too, actually, that this was a retelling of the original film. Eric, what were the biggest differences between the original film and the 2005 film for you?
Oh, Jesus. I mean, obviously, like I kind of like I alluded to, I didn't want to put in and say them because I had a feeling we were going to talk about a lot of the differences, but obviously some of the scenes that were cut from the 33 that were actually introduced into this new one. And can I talk about them, or are we going to talk about that kind of stuff later in a different segment?
But like those specific
we'll get into them. We'll get into them.
We will get into them. Okay. So obviously, yes, I'll just say besides that, then of those scenes, the biggest difference, I think, which I absolutely hate, I really do hate, is that the kind of person that they made Carl is just the biggest sleazeball ever.
Yeah.
Especially in the game.
The biggest sleazeball ever. Like we as Godzilla fans, we've seen our fair share of sleazeballs and just guys that we just love to see their upcomings, and we're like, yes, we celebrate their, whatever happens to them. Like we do that because they are good at giving us those evil human characters, but man alive, this movie gave us, I think, one of the people that we cheered for to have something happen to him, and nothing happened to him. So we were not satisfied, but I honestly don't like that. And what they did with Carl, because they made him a sleazebag, honestly. And I didn't like that because he wasn't like that in the film. Yeah, did he have his own motivations and stuff? Sure. But like, honestly, he still had his humanity, in the original. And this one, it was just completely different.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest difference, I think, from this film is is the way some of the, especially the human characters, acted and how they were portrayed, and maybe what they were said to, what he kind of wanted. That's the kind of the biggest thing for me is, and I won't go out, I don't want to go too crazy in all of them because I'm sure some of you have maybe some of the similar feelings and maybe some other things that are similar. So I won't say everything, but yeah, I'll just say for him, that is the biggest difference for me is the type of man they made Carl Denham. In the newer film compared.
Okay. Nick, what about you? What's the biggest difference that you noticed in this film versus the 33 film?
And Eric, you're right about that. Yeah, the Carl Denham character definitely changed quite a bit. I think of him in this one almost, half of Yoshifumi Tachima's character in Godzilla vs. Mothra, the original Mothra vs. Godzilla. So it's like Kumayama. Yeah, you kind of love to hate him, and he'll do anything for a buck. And in a lot of ways they rewrote him to include some of the comedy of Jack Black as well. I do like to see that Jack Black played this character and did, in a sense, change up the character. But then that is a big difference because the characters do make this movie. But to me, the biggest difference is Kong. King Kong in this one is more along the lines of the 76, where you are sympathetic for the monster. The original, it's like you don't really get a lot of that because he's not expressing a lot of emotion. He's expressing some, but they're animalistic, and it's what you would expect, an ape to kind of behave like if he were wild and on Skull Island and fighting for his life every day he lives. But in this case, this one, ends up falling in love, and he develops that relationship with Andero, and so everything about him is expressive. And Andy Serkis, of course, can bring that out. Motion capture became the new big thing. Andy Serkis would be considered the pioneer of this in a lot of ways. I mean, coming right off of Lord of the Rings as Gollum. And when I tell my kids, it's like, yeah, King Kong is Gollum. It's like, didn't you know that? No. But it's like, the fact that he can express himself non-verbally, and the fact that he's also the chef, I think is just amazing. That's just
Lumpy.
Yeah, Lumpy, the chef. I love the fact that it's like Lumpy the chef is King Kong, and they share a screen for a very brief amount of time. But this one, it really does come down to King Kong. And King Kong doesn't, like in the original, he doesn't have different facial expressions because of the fact that he is either miniature or he is that animatronic face that they created for the close-ups in the original Kong, which I never liked that one because he's always smiling in that one, and I just thought it doesn't really work well with the beautiful work that Willis O'Brien did for the stop motion side of things. I think he emoted the emotions he needed him to when he was doing his fight scenes and when he's got curiosity, those things you think of as an animal. But when it comes to this Kong has every emotion from rage to tenderness even, and everything in between. And so, yeah, you're really connected with Kong as a character in this. And so when you think of the star of this film, just like the original Godzilla, when Akira Takarada walked onto the set and he's like, I'm the star of the film. And everyone tells him, you're not the star of the film. Godzilla's the star. In this one, King Kong is definitely the star of it. And the human characters are wonderful, and they did flesh them out in different ways too. Even Andero's character is definitely more along the lines of Jessica Lange's character in 76, where she does have sympathy for the ape. She doesn't want to be separated from him when he's being killed on the Empire State Building. So there was that nod in a sense to the 76 film. But this one at least had, in a lot of ways I've talked about that is how it's one-dimensional, two-dimensional human characters in the original one. Not that those are bad characters, but they are definitely of their time and of the filmmaking of that time. It was right on par with everything that was being made. audiences now expect different, responses out of characters. They expect more fleshed out characters and more character development. And Peter Jackson has no trouble expanding that because that means he gets to make a longer movie, and he can blow the budget up. I forget what ended up over budget, but I know he ended up actually giving of his own salary, his own collection of this movie's earnings for this movie to be completed in the budget that it came in under. So yeah, again, Kong himself, he is the biggest difference.
Uh-oh. We losing
Awesome.
people?
Thank you, Nick. Since you wanted to speak up, what was the biggest difference you saw between this film and the 33 film?
Did I want to speak up? Okay, sure, I will. Well, I'll just name the very biggest. I'll name the biggest, easiest ones. It's in color. We have modern day CGI, the motion capture, added scenes, and different creatures on Skull Island. That is the biggest differences. The budget of the film, like we keep talking about, they could do more. So, yeah, if I'm gonna just be very, very literal in the sense, yeah, color, CGI, added creatures, and longer movie and bigger budget is the very easiest way to put it, honestly. I'll stay shorter than usual. Yeah, whoa, weird. Samson shuts up. Oh my god.
Yes, I am also surprised by that. Jordan, what about you?
I mean, Nick beat me to it, and I mentioned it earlier when talking about how similar the two movies were, or how good Peter Jackson recreated the 33. The obvious difference was Kong. Yeah, sure, there were a bunch of other things that were added on to this film to make it into what we end up having, but I mean, like I mentioned earlier, comparing it to the 33, it's night and day. I feel like it's just two different characters, just based off of personality. Nick, you mentioned, the sympathizing with the beast originally started from the original 76 Kong film. Though I will admit it was kind of creepy, especially with, how they were trying to direct, Kong's intentions to thy lady of the movie. But
thy lady.
It was, this one was just on its own, separate thing. Honestly, I feel like the reason behind them sacrificing Ander on this one was to have some type of sacrificial feast for Kong. I don't know if those were the intentions in the original 33. 76, they were sacrificing her for something else, I'll tell you that. But this one, and with Kong's difference, the way how Anne interacted with Kong, being very theatrical and stuff like that, making him laugh, which was, again, night and day to anything that we've ever got from Kong besides the Monsterverse, and even being able to sign when he pounded his chest towards the end, translating to the scenery being beautiful, and she did that earlier in the movie.
Is incorrect.
Kong was the biggest difference. A completely different, solid character, and yeah, again, there are a bunch of other different things, but the more obvious one to me was definitely Kong.
Now, Samson, I know you're saying that the signing is wrong. That's understandable. I don't think she was trying to sign. I think she was just trying to portray to him and get him to understand that from your heart, it's beautiful. I don't think she was ever trying to sign in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. I don't think that was the intention. It was just, it's heartfelt. You feel it in your heart when you see a beautiful sunset, a beautiful scenery, whatever. It just kind of hits you in the heart. That's what I think she was referring to. So I don't think there was ever any intention of her signing that way because, yes, obviously, like you said, it is wrong. So I don't think that was.
No, we pointed it out last night, and I looked it up. So, being the very literal person that I am, I was like, "That's not correct. It's supposed to be this."
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it was
that makes sense, though, Eric. That
it
makes
was
sense.
killing me. It was killing me that you were doing that.
I know.
I don't
know.
think that's the intention, man. I was like, it's not it, dude. Like.
It's
like,
something
shut
really
up and
beautiful.
watch, dude. Just shut up and watch.
If it's heartfelt and awesome, you feel it right in your boob. I know it's right here usually, but
like, and honestly, I at the same time, I kind of wish now that they would have done that because it would have been really cool to know that this movie would have started the whole signing with Kong even before it came into the MonsterVerse. That would have been a really cool. Little tidbit there that would have been kind of cool to talk about, or
dude.
Whatever, so,
well, we've communicated with apes for the longest time now with sign language, so it would have been neat to have just that little aspect thrown into the film.
Yeah,
since that's a common thing since like what? How long have we been doing that? Having recordings, the 70s, 60s, further back. I mean, it's been part of society for long time, which shows that they are intelligent. They can understand and interpret what certain things mean. How like, oh, this gesture corresponds with this emotion.
Well, I mean, of course, like didn't 62 already establish that? Come on, get the gears rolling. I think Nick knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know. We lost you for a second, buddy. Again.
God. I don't know what it is.
I guess we'll never know what you said.
The world may never know.
Oh, I just said I guess we already know that because 62 already established that.
We heard that part. We heard that part.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Because he's a drunk? What?
No, because in 62 they established that Godzilla only has the brain the size of a marble.
right, the brain
and
then
Kong is a thinking
yeah. Okay,
So,
clever girl.
Come on, Sam. Don't have Godzilla's brain. Don't have Godzilla's brain.
My mom took Tylenol when she was pregnant. I can't help it.
I also like the jab that they threw at RKO Studios in the beginning of the film. When one of Carl's actresses left to go work for them, and he was just like basically throwing them under the bus. I was like, wow, dude, that is a great nod. Good for you, Peter Jackson.
Yeah, we have the next question?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
All right, so this question is, does this Kong film stand out amongst all the other Kong films? Jordan, you take this one first.
Maybe, I don't know. It's a good but yet confusing question, since it's a retelling of specifically the 33 film. I don't know, like whenever I talk about, or whenever people talk to me about Kong, that are not like part of the fandom or whatever, they always mention specifically this version of Kong. They don't mention anything, beforehand. Yeah, sure, they'll mention a little bit of the MonsterVerse, but this is the one that everybody always ties into. Which to, I guess, ask you guys, would that be considered it's standing out compared to all the others? I don't personally think so if they're not aware of any of the other movies prior, but can I say I don't know?
Maybe after you can feed off of some of our other opinions, and then you can be like, okay, wait, now this. Wait,
I think that might help.
Yeah, we can circle back.
Yeah, damn, that's it shouldn't be that hard of a question, but it's hard, you know. That's like saying, does I forgot what year this movie came out? Did Disney's live action reenactment of Beauty and the Beast stand out to the original animated feature film? Again, I wouldn't be able to, you know, tell you because it's like it's a remake of what was already there. I guess somebody else will go ahead, and I'll probably feed off of a little bit what everybody else says.
Well, I got one on the tip of my tongue already.
Oh, go ahead, Sam.
I'm going to be kind of brutally honest and say no, it doesn't really stand out, because what makes the other Kong movies different is that they take place in different settings in different time periods. This one is, other than it being much longer, it's just a remake of 33. So it's not that drastically different. In 76, it took place in the 70s. It took place, and we had different scenes and creatures and the way that Kong dies at the end. And I mean, even if we're going to circle back to King Kong versus Godzilla, I mean, come on, that's a totally different property. Just the way that they portrayed that. It takes place in Japan, and he fights Godzilla. So they each have their own ways of standing out, as well as Skull Island, the 2016 film. 2016, 17? Wait, crap, I forgot.
2017.
Oh, God, I should know better. But each of those stand out because they have their different storytellings. This one, although it's a great remake, I'm not dissing the fact that this is a good film. It doesn't really stand out since it is pretty much, it's almost just a longer carbon copy of, or a love letter. Let's put a more positive twist on it. It's a love letter to the 33 film, just with modern day special effects and cinematography and stuff like that. So if I'm going to be brutally honest about it, it doesn't stand out because of the fact that it is just a more elaborate remake rather than being its own unique individual story like other Kong films have been.
Okay, it's interesting take, Samson. Nick, what about you?
All right. So yeah, I guess I'll differ with Samson, but still love you, Samson, with your opinions too. I think that's very valid of you to say, you know, because if it were of its time, made in its time, and not a period piece, that might, you know, change some things about it, because we are essentially trying to portray 1933 in 2005 and trying to get across to people. We had to spend time with the whole idea of the Depression. Okay, we got to show things that are happening on the streets. We got to show people starving and things. So I get that, and it's hard for an audience today to understand that because we weren't around then. And so, you know, our grandparents may have experienced that, and so they may watch this and be like, you know, it was kind of like that at times. But I also didn't live in New York, so that's probably what it was like in New York. But I do get that it is. They've got to bring you into the narrative of 1933 and say, and almost overdo the idea of this being a Depression era timepiece, because we can't understand that kind of idea. That would a film industry even be around? Well, yes, it was around. Even watching with my kids, they're like, why are they even making movies? Why are people even going to the theaters if it's the Depression? I'm like, well, there still were people with money. They still were spending money. They just weren't spending it as much. And that's why you saw even the theater, the vaudeville theater, was not, packed. You know, they had all these extra seats, but the theater at the end did get packed, meaning there's a lot of still of the rich that still existed during that time that had money to go to a spectacle like that. So it is a little difficult to put yourself into that in the 2000s as we live now to say, you know, we can relate to 1933. So that is difficult. So yeah, if it were to be made like the 76 and put it in modern day, it's definitely going to have a different feel, a different look to it, everything about it. And of course, when we see CGI in a period piece, there are things about that always has kind of the uncanny valley where you are just like, I know I'm seeing CGI characters. I know I'm seeing CGI creatures. Whereas I see the original and I know I'm seeing the beautiful work of Willis O'Brien and the stop motion, but for whatever reason, that still captures me more than the CGI. Not that I expected Peter Jackson to do that, though. Seeing the special feature on the King Kong 33, where he does recreate some stop motion animation in the spider pit sequence, I thought that was wonderful. Seeing that and seeing modern filmmakers do the hard work of stop motion animation, a nod to Harryhausen and Willis O'Brien. But I still feel like this stands out because if I had to compare it to some of the other King Kong movies and even the Legendary series, I do love this film. I do love what it did. I do love what Peter Jackson tried to do in fleshing this out, and I do feel like it's going to stand the test of time. Whereas a lot of people, I have to kind of remind them, not you guys, because we're all into this. We all know the 76 film. We know King Kong Lives. We know King Kong Escapes. We know King Kong versus Godzilla. We know Mighty Joe Young, all the peripheral, giant. You've never heard of that? What?
No. I'm just like, oh, that's right, Mighty Joe Young. I forgot that's kind of a Kong property, just its own different sense.
Yeah, we know Son of Kong. We know the peripheral properties, Konga. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Even the bizarre and strange ones. But I'd say if someone were to, years and years and years from now, go back to saying, I want to see some King Kong, and it's like they may jump on this film or they may jump on the 1933 original. They may not go to the 76. They definitely wouldn't go to King Kong King Kong Lives. They may go to King Kong Escapes. I love King Kong Escapes.
And I still haven't seen King Kong Lives, actually.
What? No.
You will next year. Don't worry. Don't handle that.
But yeah, and I have a lot of love for this film. So I guess my biases is coming out, and of course the time period I saw it in, and the fact that we were jumping off of Lord of the Rings during that time, it did stand out for me. So I do always have that side of things with the nostalgia factor into it. But I do get it. If you didn't necessarily watch this at that time period in your life, it may not stand out as much. It may just been another remake of something else we've seen that's been remade several times. So, I do get that point of view as well.
Interesting thoughts, Nick. Thank you. Eric, what about you? Did this King Kong film stand out amongst its other predecessors and everything that came out after it, actually?
So, everybody has their opinion. Everybody's opinion is valid and rightfully so. But I don't think it stands out.
Wait, did you hear mine? I mean, because, yeah.
Well, whatever yours is, if it agrees with me or disagrees, like I said, it's your opinion. I'm not bashing anybody's opinion. My opinion is that it doesn't stand out because this is literally why I haven't watched it in 20 years. For me, I'm serious. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad film. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's not something that if I want to watch Kong related, this isn't the one I'm going to throw in. I'm going to go throw in the 33 because that's my favorite Kong film. Because that's where it all came from. That's where it all started. This is literally just rehashing it, just adding more things into it. Just input here, and just made it 3 times as long. To me, that's what they did. I understand it's a passion project. I understand he's a fan, and I get that. He just, like I said earlier, just went and added more things to what they initially already had. But it's just not a film that I'm like, oh man, like I got to throw on this Kong film because it's a good one. To me, it's not. It's like I said, it's too long in some cases. Some of those points I get where you got to put some background for some of these characters, but some of the stuff is overdone, and some of that stuff could have been taken out, and you didn't really need to. Some of the cast members that were helping Carl Denham. The camera guy and the assistant director or whatever, those guys didn't have to be in there. Yes, they were banta fodder. They were literally just bodies to be eaten and destroyed and whatever. I'm sorry, but like you could have just done shipmates in that role and been fine with it. You didn't need to go into any of their backstories, didn't need to focus on any of that stuff, and it would have been just as fine. You know, like I didn't have any connection with those characters. I didn't feel bad when they, you know, passed away. Like there was nothing there, so it didn't need to be there.
You did for Choi, though. Choi.
The Asian guy. Come on, man. Come on.
Even Lumpy was like, Choi, I will avenge you.
And what about Mr. Hayes?
Oh god. Yeah, no feeling for Choi. Sorry.
Oh my god, you heartless.
Sorry, like
a giant dinosaur falls into a volcano, and here comes the tears. But the Asian cook,
yes, exactly.
Oh, man.
Innocent by
Yeah, oh man, I mean they're just neck and neck, Samson. Oh my god,
how could you not have any feels?
That's funny.
So it's just you know, it's just something that it's not there, you know. So I just, like I said, it's still a great film, but I just have some issues with some things, and like I said, it's just something I don't go back to, and honestly, I probably won't go back to this for another 20 years. Honestly, it's kind of like with me in Gojira, you know, 54. I don't go back to that film very often. I just don't. Like to me, it's
Same.
That enjoyability, that, you know, reason for watching it just isn't there. I understand it, I get it, I appreciate what it is, but it's just not there. Yeah, does this have some great parts in it? I mean, I'm not knocking the great parts. The V-Rex fight and everything, so great. If I could just turn on this movie and just watch that portion, there you go. I'm good. I don't even see the rest of the film. Honestly, I'm happy. You know, but that's it. That's all you're
shit
gonna
on
get from
YouTube,
me.
man. I mean, come on. You just,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there we go. I'm done.
Exactly. So
5 minutes of fight sequence and boom, done.
Yeah. So like that's all I get out of it. So unfortunately, it doesn't stand out for me personally. There's other films that I personally love more and gravitate to for if I want to watch a Kong film.
Well, you were gone, I guess, when I was gonna say you were gone when I was saying what I said. But that's funny. We are pretty much in agreement. Oddly enough, I said no. I said no. It doesn't stand out because it is just a longer remake of the original. There's nothing that stands out about it being different. And just to summarize what I said very quickly, think about 62 King Kong, 76 King Kong. They all kind of were products of their time period. This one was just remaking 33. So that's where I got very literal with my thinking was, well, I mean, it's longer, it's more CGI, but it's just a love letter to the original, so it doesn't stand out. And now hearing what you said, yeah, I don't think I'm going to pop this on very often because it's so long. You have to dedicate yourself to watching this movie. And there are other King Kong movies that are like, I'd rather, for fun, I'm going to put this one on because it's like, what, hour and a half and then I'm good. And this one is a experience.
So really quick, before we hop on to the other question, because Eric, when you got off, I actually didn't know how to answer this question. So I just wanted to hear everybody's opinions and stuff.
Because we asked him first.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was trying to like digest the question, and then I'm like, wait, what? Me? Oh, fuck. But so like for me personally, like the issue for me regarding this movie, because I'm hearing a lot that, you know, it was too long, this and that was not an issue for me at all, or just watching any movie in general. Like when the Snyder Cut came out for HBO Max, I sat through that movie. I can't even tell you how many times I went to go see that movie. Going to friends' houses and stuff like that, watching it. So I guess now that I could give, you know, an appropriate answer to this, just sticking to my guns and my opinions regarding to this being a remake specifically of the 33 movie, I don't think it stands out at all. It's not to knock the movie or anything like that, but yeah, nah. You know, again, just listening to like what you guys had just said, that there are other movies that you'd rather watch with the Kong name on it, and this would be like on the bottom of that list. Nah, I mean, I personally would have to agree as well. So yeah, I guess this movie does not stand out for majority of us, everyone, unless if Adrian, you know, disagrees. But you know, yeah.
It's his favorite.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay. So you
y'all
know
know
what?
my opinion on
You don't
it.
even need to answer.
But no, I was interested because
But
this
why?
film is kind of. You said, but why?
Yeah, but why? Why is this your favorite film? So obviously this stands out to you because it's your favorite film. Why does it stand out? And why is it your favorite film, honestly? Like you can say it's your favorite film and you know, we can take that, but like what's your reasoning? Like I want to know that. Like what is it that's really like this stands out from 33 or 76 or Escapes or whatever? Why is this one your favorite?
So even before I even saw Peter Jackson, knowing that this was a love story to 33, even before that, even there's something about this film just always captured. It brought out the imagination and put Kong on a grander stage than the 33 film did for me, in a sense. Granted, I know it's what I can't do math right now. Yes, it's so many years after the original one, so of course it is going to be a lot better, and a lot more updated and a lot more grander in a sense. But really, that's kind of why, because the 33 King Kong is right behind this one, and I love that film also. But this film just put it on more of a grander stage, and it made you feel he was like on Score Island more than the original film did for me. And granted, I do agree this movie is super long. I probably put this movie on once a year, maybe every other year, just depending on if I feel like sitting through a long movie or not. But even with that being done, even with that being said and done, I appreciate the storytelling they did. I appreciate the grand stage of Skull Island was, and of course the ending was this. Well, besides the lake scene that I won't get into, despite that, everything about the film was just incredible to me, honestly. And the game was done. Go ahead.
Well, so you're talking about Skull Island and it, you know, them focusing on Skull Island, which they did. Obviously, it was probably half the movie, maybe more on Skull Island. But like we got a Kong movie that's Skull Island that was all on Skull Island. Why doesn't that one beat this one?
I guess I've always been in I guess with Skull Island, I feel like they didn't stick to the form of Kong that I'm used to. Which, granted, I know I should be more open-minded than that. I know it. I completely understand that. But since that wasn't really the Kong, any Kong that we've really seen prior to that movie before, I guess that's what kind of turned me off from it. Just Kong's characteristics and everything in that film. Which, you know, I enjoy that film also, but just that the portion of King Kong not being King Kong as I'm growing up to know and love is what kind of turned me off on that version of him in that film.
You like the Kong that is gentle with his captive, kind of like a gorilla.
Yeah, that's
with a
what I was just gonna say.
Are you gonna say like a gorilla with a kitten? That's kind of, it's like, oh, I love this thing, and I'm gonna.
I was gonna say a pussy, but I get okay. I guess we'll throw that into it.
It's the same thing. Yeah, exactly. So, just because I mean he's very possessive in 33, 76, and in this one, and he's flabbergasted by this beautiful blonde. Just
well, no, you're honestly you're not.
That's
wrong.
the Kong that you like, because in Skull Island, he wasn't like, God damn, Brie Larson. He was just like, you exist. I'm gonna fight all these other things that are like causing problems though, and Samuel Jackson being a dick. So yeah, you like the gentler, like you like that Kong, that aspect, that story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you like the more mature Kong, because let's be honest, that was a younger Kong, so he was all ferocious and testosterone and whatever. Like he was like, I'm gonna beat you up over. He didn't care about the leading ladies and stuff. Yeah, did he save her? Yeah, that's because that's just who he is. But he didn't care about having somebody with him, and everybody else, all these other Kongs that have had a leading lady with him, they've always been like more mature Kongs that are, I guess, more lonely, I guess, in a sense, because they're yearning for that relationship. They're yearning for that connection, because we saw it in this film when he brought her up to his perch, and all you see is dead Kong, dead Kong, dead Kong, dead Kong, and he's looking at them as he goes by them, so he's yearning for that connection to somebody or something, and it's just it seems like that's kind of a trend you can kind of see with Kong, especially even in the monster verse. Like he's looking for his family, he's looking for something that he can gravitate towards. So
yeah,
correct.
So, did anyone have anything you want to say about this question? Or we ready to move on?
Well, what you were saying, Adrian, you said this is your favorite Kong or favorite film of all time. I guess I may have missed that part.
Favorite Kong film, but it is probably my top 10 favorite monster film of all time.
Oh wow! Well, just monster.
Don't know exactly where I would put it, but it's up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that is interesting to hear that from you. And then sometimes, is there films that you just cannot describe why it is that they're in your top list? Maybe they don't even have the rewatchability, and you guys are right to knock this film for the rewatchability. It is a long film, so it's a commitment to rewatch. So I don't disagree completely with that. But is there sometimes something about a film that hits the markers for you that does make it stand out to you? And here's what I always, kind of go back to why Peter Jackson was perfect for this. Because the man can shoot. He can tell a story with visuals. The man knows how to shoot films. And it's like not just quality. I mean, that term is just nebulous. Why is it that Peter Jackson gets the work that he does and gets the budget he does? Because he knows how to tell a story visually. And it's like, sometimes does the film just need to shut up? And this film does that. You have those moments where Naomi Watts is with Kong and there's a connection made without words. And it's done with the music, it's done with the camera, and it's just beautifully done. And that's why, even in the Lord of the Rings, there's times where it's like I could just keep explaining exposition. This is why this is. And there's, the Monsterverse, I feel like, is guilty of that a lot. It's like, why is this happening? Well, this is the reason it's happening, and there's the whole explanation, and I'm going to lay it all out for you. And here's a pamphlet. It's all in this pamphlet. It's like, can you tell the story without verbally spoon feeding it to me? Jackson knows how to do that, and that's why when I see the fact that he can tell that story, even the 33 can do that without using words, but they do talk a lot in that film, and there's even an overlapping dialogue happening in that film, and that's still a cool thing. But the thing about the 30s films is they were kind of canned theater. The camera angles weren't really telling a story. They're just trying to make sure that everything's in frame for the most part, and that the visual effects work. But a lot of the times now we're expecting that this is going to take us along for the experience. And there's going to be times where we're going to have point of view shots. There's going to be times that we're going to be a third party to, an interaction that's happening. And that's why I think Peter Jackson can really tell those kinds of stories, because he pre-visualizes all of this. And the fact that he doesn't always rely on the CGI, he built miniatures, and his miniatures do the work for the Lord of the Rings. And when I see the fact that there's a real camera in front of a real thing, sometimes, not all the time, because he still's got the CGI, and those are the tools of the trade. But the fact that he's got that Weta workshop that can actually make some things that happen in real life, even if it is occasionally that we get the arm or hand of Kong, and the fact that, you know, she's in something. She's not just wrapped in green screen that's going to be later CGI'd out.
Yeah.
That they actually built something there. And so that was cool to see. They didn't blow the budget on a giant 1-to-1 scale Kong like the 76 did. And it's
right.
Less than 10 seconds or whatever. It's just like, I don't know. We had some money in the budget. We said build the whole thing, top to bottom.
Yep.
Oh, that decision, Lord have mercy. We'll talk about that next year. My God.
Well, this seems to be one of the hottest questions so far. Damn, we've stuck on this one for a little bit.
Yep. And next, we finally get to the human characters. Of course, if you don't know all these guys, I'll go through more quick. Of course, the lovely Naomi Watts is Ann Darrow. Jack Black plays the sleazeball Carl Denham. Adrian Brody plays Jack Driscoll. And Thomas, not saying that last name, played Captain Egglehorn. This is to name some of the characters. So out of everybody here, I'll actually let Samson go first on this one. Who is your favorite character?
See, that as soon as you this hand over, I was like, crap. I mean, the human characters, they weren't really the biggest driving force of this film. I mean, they can act, and Naomi Watts is hot, and as we already stated, Jack Black's Carl Denham. Oh God, his character just sucks. I do really like Adrian Brody as an actor, so I guess if I'm going to be honest, I guess I'll stick with him because there wasn't much about his character that bothered me. I wasn't like, oh my God, he's doing this. With Jack Black, it was just his attitude, Naomi Watts, and her bouncing back and forth. Just because she's like the looker of the film doesn't mean like, okay, I need to be saved, but no, don't hurt Kong. But oh, thank you for saying no. How dare you save me? It was all kind of like, what? Make up your mind. Do you want to be rescued by Kong or not? So, Jack Driscoll's Adrian Brody, his portrayal as Jack Driscoll. I'll go with that. I'll go with him. He did a good job as the poetic writer turned hero, very somber acting, and just yeah. I guess that'll be my answer now that I've gone through the entire fucking cast.
Jordan, what about you?
I loved Nacho Libre in this movie.
All right.
If you know, you know.
I am.
Went Kung Fu Panda on those bugs. I was like,
good reference again.
I just literally flipped the switch and was like, you know what? Y'all done pissed me off. Let me hit you with some Tommy the Green Ranger type of moves. Yeah. I was like, yo, this guy. I don't know. I'm, also speaking on behalf of being a Jack Black fan, and seeing his, demeanor in this movie wasn't something that we often see in Jack Black projects. Though there were, small comedic jabs, but they weren't as, dramatic to what I had just mentioned in, like, let's just say a Kung Fu Panda movie or a Nacho Libre, or a Jumanji, Goosebumps, whatever other movie he's ever been in. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
You know what, Jordan? And honestly, I completely agree with everything you said. He's my favorite character too, actually. Even though he is a sleazeball, he does that in such a perfect way in this movie, honestly. He really does.
And like also, being biased, like out of all the characters, I didn't know any of them besides Jack Black going into this movie. So
talking about way back in 2005 or just even
dude,
now? I mean,
2005.
In 2005, yeah.
Okay. How about you, Eric?
So I'm gonna stay away from the main three.
Okay.
Okay.
I will say that when I heard the cast of Carl and Jack, I was pissed. I was like, these guys are not what I envisioned for these guys to be. Honestly, I did not like it. I knew who Jack Black was. I was like, he's comedian. He's not going to do this role, justice. And he did a good role as a sleazeball, but like I said, they made him too much of a sleazeball to my liking, honestly. So, Adrian Brody, I wasn't a fan of him being like the White Knight, the hero. It didn't bring me in for that. I didn't like that. Naomi Watts is perfect. I've said this before on other of our podcasts talking about Kong, but she is just right under Fay Wray for the best damsel in distress in a Kong film by far, because she's very similar to Fay Wray. I loved how they got the look of her. Her scream was so good, and I just absolutely I thought she nailed the role overall. I really do. But those are just those three. I think I'm going to go with either Kyle Chandler as Bruce Baxter, or I'm going to go with Evan Park as Hayes, because I felt like those two characters had either the most growth as a character developed, especially Kyle Chandler as Bruce Baxter, because here's an actor, okay, who's playing superhero, like a hero in all of these movies. And then when the time comes to it, he's the first one out. He's like, excuse me, I'm gone, There's nowhere to be seen, And then all of a sudden, they're in their direst of needs in the pit. And who's the guy swinging like Tarzan through, shooting all those? Mr. Non-heroic, Mr. See you next week kind of thing. He is in there saving their lives. So like that was such a good 180 turn for his character, being the one to flee first and then actually coming back to save them. I thought that was really cool. As little of a part as he had, it was memorable. And the same thing with Hayes. Like, it was interesting to learn the background and the history between him and Jimmy, where literally Jimmy just came aboard, stowed away on their ship, and this guy just took care of him because he had nothing. He came from nothing, and he was like a father figure to him and taught him all this stuff, fed him, took care of him. And even when he's, a grown-ass man, he's still looking out for him, still doesn't want to give him a gun, still saying, hey, Jimmy, stay back there, like a father figure should. It was very touching and different to see, besides the three main ones that, we kind of already know their role. Hayes' character, his position in the film was basically what Jack was supposed to be in 33, but they changed it, just added another person to it. And then obviously Kyle Chandler, Bruce Baxter was a completely new character we had nothing about, and he was just kind of thrown in there. So those two characters, I think, were a lot of fun to see their growth throughout the film.
Okay, thank you, Eric. I like that answer. That was a good answer.
No love for Troy, though, of course.
No.
He can keep peeling those potatoes all he wants.
God.
Oh my God. Oh God. All right, Nick, who's your favorite character in this film?
I like what you said, Eric, about Baxter, and how Kyle Chandler, I actually like him in this better than I liked him in the Monsterverse, honestly.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Just that alone, that was worth it. Like, he's got it. He's got the character down. He's also kind of what Jack Driscoll would have essentially been if you made caricature of himself, that he's obviously he was even paying homage to it on the ship with the lines from the original 33 Kong given to his character.
Dude, I know.
That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was very cool to see. And again, he was so much more expressive in this film than he was in the Monsterverse. He was way too serious in the Monsterverse. I think he's got a pretty good range, and I thought he was underutilized in that. But favorite character in this, it is Ann Darrow, Naomi Watts playing Ann Darrow. I mean, she can act really well with her eyes. She can look and get the emotion out of the viewer just with acting with her eyes. And the Fay Wray character is actually given in a lot of ways her blessing to Naomi Watts, but she wasn't going to play just a remake of Fay Wray's character. She was going to play an embodiment of all the Kong girls. So the Scream Queen is Fay Wray. Naomi Watts can play that role, and she can play an American New Yorker, even though when you hear her in real life, she's got this British accent. And to hear that transition, it's like, wow, she can really pull off that voice well. And when you heard her speak in movies like The Ring, very different kind of character for her. So I thought that was an interesting choice, because he's kind of cast, Jackson's casting against type. Jack Black definitely against type. I put this on and my kids are in the back. Producer Eli's watching, and it's like that. He looks familiar, and I was like, Eli, la 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 lava, chicken, and oh my gosh, that's Jack Black. He didn't recognize him. And then I was like, peaches. But Jack Black against character type is always great to see, because he doesn't honestly play too many serious roles like this, and it's good to see him in something different. Adrian Brody kind of with type. He's solid in about everything he is in, but Naomi Watts as Ann Darrow, she stole the show. And so back to that embodiment of all the Kong girls. So Jessica Lange even gave her blessing as a Kong girl to Naomi Watts in the making of this, and there's a soundbite of her talking about that. So again, the connection she had with Kong, that she did have, in a sense, a sort of love triangle between her, Driscoll, and the Beast.
Yeah.
So there was that going on, and so she embodied that. Now let's throw a little love to Linda Miller, King Kong Escapes.
Absolutely.
When Ann Darrow in this film, they're trying to get her away from the wall, and they're trying to put Kong to sleep with the chloroform. She's trying to save the day. She's like, let me go. I can take care of this. She literally says that. I can handle this. I can take care. He wants me, Linda Miller, on the submarine, and it's like, is there any other way? He needs me in his hands, and she can calm the beast. So there's the embodiment of Linda Miller in this Ann Darrow character. There, a lot of people forget about poor Linda Miller. She's a wonderful Kong girl too of King Kong's history. Yes, absolutely. So, and I know you guys have had her on the stream too, and I don't know why I haven't had her on my show yet, but that's an injustice I'm going to have to remedy. So, yes, Naomi Watts, and with a second of Lumpy and third of Choi, because got to throw some love to the the very character actor, the very low character actors that are in this. That they're just fodder for the animals and creatures on Skull Island. But I did shed a tear for Choi. Yeah.
At least somebody did. Only somebody.
I was gonna throw this one to you, Eric. It's like when Chandler's character comes back and he's swinging from the ropes. It's like, what did he do? Go back to the ship and find his spine? Because he was the first to leave, and there he is.
Exactly.
He's Errol Flynn suddenly.
Yeah.
But what did happen to Jimmy, by the way? By the time we get back to New York, it's like
we don't hear from him ever, afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was part of one of the crew members that Kong had flung the ship across the wall when they were trying to knock him out with the chloroform at the end of Skull Island.
Oh,
Well, to
okay.
be fair, we didn't see any of the crew
The
after
last
that
boat,
anyways.
but
to
I
be
don't think
fair.
I don't think he fell up against the wall. He just went into the water.
Okay.
No, because
Yeah.
Jack actually saved him. Jack grabbed him and was pulling
Yes,
him.
yes.
And he actually had him there, so he was.
You're right.
It's not like he died
You're
or
right.
anything. Yeah, he was alive, but yeah, after they left, he was gone. Like he was. Never heard from him again.
Maybe he was trying to pursue what his father figure was trying to get him to do for so long. He maybe had that guilt that he was just like, you know what? Maybe I should pursue a career. Maybe I should get educated.
He probably just went back on the boat and just stayed on the boat with them. Just cried.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
whatever, just kind of stayed with them.
Well, you know, there was going to be, at the time of this filming, they were starting to shoot scenes for Son of Kong, the sequel to this. It's in the video logs actually in that bonus of the extended edition where they started to shoot, and they already had concept art for the son, and they were bringing Naomi Watts, Jack Black back for it. I think would have had Captain Einhorn or Engelhorn or whatever his name was, possibly Jimmy too, because
Maybe
you probably would have had a story arc there with the captain and Jimmy, you know, as to what happened afterwards, and after the whole city of New York and state sued him, you know, into oblivion to the point where he has to leave the United States entirely, which is. This is one big thing I love about the movie Son of Kong. It's like, that's reality. You know, the movie's over, but there are consequences. And Carl Denham, he's got a target on his back.
Like he didn't already the first time he left Skull Island, but
I didn't even know that. So that was the first for me. Thank you for sharing that information with us, Nick.
Yeah, it would have been an interesting Son of Kong to see the sequel of this, but yeah, unfortunately, it just never got greenlit entirely. And it's not because this film was a flop. It definitely wasn't. No. It was the fifth highest grossing film, I believe, of that year. You know, fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. You know, it was up against a lot too that year. You were talking about Narnia. That was a huge film that year.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so the next question I have is, we always talk about favorite characters, but who was the best reimagined characters? So obviously we'll just stick with the main three: Anne, Carl, Jack. Who did the best job reimagining the character from the 33 film? And Eric, I'll let you go first on this one.
Well, that's easy. Like we were just talking about the characters. It's Naomi Watts, you know, and Daryl. That's, I mean, hands down, there was nobody that was better. Like I said, I had my disagreements with Jack Black, and I had my disagreements with Adrian Brody as said character. So I'm just going to stick with her. I mean, she, like I said, she is my number two Kong leading lady, honestly, and rightfully so. She did a tremendous job. So I'll keep it short and sweet.
Okay, that works. Jordan?
I'll keep it shorter than that. Naomi Watts. That's it. Short, sweet, and simple.
All right, Nick.
It's Naomi Watts. She was the heart of this film, but her and the fact that we do have a character in Kong, in a sense, because we have the interaction between her and Andy Serkis, and there were, you know, places where they were on the set together, interacting with one another. Yep. So in a lot of ways, if you're to say where's the heart of this film, it's between the two of them. That's where the heart is.
Okay. I would ask Samson, but he seems to not to love us anymore. He just kicked himself off the stream. I don't know what happened.
Hey man, internet is being funky tonight, man. I tell you,
it is.
It really is. I hope we didn't make China mad again.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's going crazy. So,
well, hopefully Sam should be back for us.
on to the next.
On to the next. So now we're going to talk about the King of Skull Island. So now we're specifically just talking about the main man himself, the king of all kings on Skull Island, Kong himself. What did you think? What did y'all think of his design and his performance in this film? Jordan, I'll let you go first since you're the resident Kong lover here.
I'm not gonna lie. This is one of my least favorite Kong designs. I'm more of him being like upright. You know, this. It's my least favorite Kong design. Believe it or not, this is also the one Kong whose collectibles I had a good chunk of. But as I explained earlier, you know, I was excited for this movie, and there was nothing coming out. So, this he's not it for me, Chief. I'm sorry, he's not it for me. But you know, outside of just like the overall design, just speaking specifically for what he has done in what we've seen in Skull Island, there were a lot of amazing shots. Of course, you know, as Eric mentioned, one of the highlights of the entire interaction in Skull Island was him going up against 3 of the V-Rex species. He went above and beyond, obviously, to save Andero when she was about to get murked by these damn dinosaurs. But it was great, amazing shots, amazing fight sequence. But yeah, now if you want to talk about Kong as a whole, the IP that is Kong, because Eric and you know, Adrian, I refuse to call him King Kong. He is trash.
Oh my God.
In Spanish, it's called basura.
Oh my goodness.
Listen, I can't be embracing the attitude without throwing some type of shade in this mother lover that we're talking about right now. Like, I was literally impaling through my sandals and I left a freaking dent on one of them.
Oh my God.
Because of
my.
Almost violence.
Sorry.
Nick,
No,
what do you think of this design of Kong and its performance?
Yeah, but besides that, all that, you know, in this movie, it was, you know, there were a lot of great moments with Kong. But again, you know, personally for me, for the overall look, and just Kong's depiction in this it's not my forte. It is extremely different, but it's just not my forte at all.
No te gusta. So
Yep, that's right. No me gusta. No me
gusta. Gusta esta cara? This one? This face? You like this face, bro?
Oh, hell no.
The Imperial King Kong?
Wow.
My goodness. Okay. So, yeah, maybe he's not the favorite Kong design of maybe anyone, honestly. I mean, he's definitely a change up from a lot of them. And I guess we all would have probably our favorite Kongs and our least favorite, but I wouldn't say this is my least favorite. I'd say, tell you the truth, I actually really, really do not like the design or face of Blasphemous King Kong versus Godzilla. That Kong. I do not like that face.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I do not like that face. I do like the King Kong escapes better, but that's
what?
I'm sorry. Oh, I do not like it. Yeah.
I love it.
Wow.
Holy Toledo!
To
Wow.
me, it's the least expressive Kong you've ever seen, and it is. I don't know. I love Subaraya, but I think he missed the mark with that one.
You didn't like Drunk Kong?
No, I don't. I really don't. I'm sorry. I like this one better, and I like the 33 one better. Honestly, if I were to say my favorite, I actually love the Rick Baker Kong. I love 76, actually. That's one of my so because probably again nostalgia. I was watching that on TV as a kid alongside Godzilla 1985, and I put those two on the same level of the practical effects with amazing animatronics and suitimation going on. And so there is something about the 76 one that hits all the right notes, and I love the music score to 76.
Oh my God.
This one didn't have a bad music score. Because it had a lot of homages to the original and then some new. But when it comes to Kong himself, he is a silverback gorilla in this one. He doesn't stand upright. He walks, on his knuckles like a real gorilla would. But sometimes I do like to see Kong do things that are not entirely ape-like, which does humanize him. So, Nathaniel Plummer loves his Kong 86. I know. He loves his King Kong list.
He does.
Kong back from the dead, and Lady Kong. But I did forget about Linda Hamilton. She is a Kong girl too. Shout out to Linda Hamilton. But Linda Miller. I mean, come on. So she, this Kong, definitely kicked butt though in the scenes on Skull Island. He definitely ruled. And you could tell, the wheels were spinning with his intelligence level against the beasts of Skull Island in this one. And I think the look of this Skull Island is just a tremendous homage to the original, because it always has that kind of jungle look to it, viney and way overgrown and overlit at times, though. If it's supposed to be in a fog bank, it's not supposed to be as overlit as it is. But whatever, put that off to the side. This Kong definitely ruled the Skull Island, and showed that he was very much out of place, in New York. So I think that worked really well. But not my favorite design. Maybe not necessarily my favorite Kong. I've liked some of the others, but again, love for Choi. Poor Choi. There needs to be a campaign to raise money for that man's wife and kids. I mean, that's what animals doing the whole time. I'll donate the proceeds to his wife and kids. He didn't care about Choi. Does Choi have wife? He could.
He could somewhere.
He's sending money home to China, maybe, but yeah. He hasn't seen them in decades.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Somebody's got to take the place of Samson while he's gone.
That's true. That's
Very
true. It's not my favorite design, but it's the most realistic. Like, let's be honest. Like, it's the most believable. If you're going more towards that kind of look, he's gonna walk on all fours. He's gonna do that kind of mannerism and that kind of style. The upright kind of 2 feet walking. I get it. That's kind of been more ingrained in our heads for so long that that is kind of more the norm for us. But I mean, if you're talking realism and what they were trying to go for, obviously this hit the nail on the head. I did like that his features were very beat up, had a lot of scars, just kind of showed you what kind of terrain and environment that he lived in was just terrible. It was just obviously we saw the cast go through the island and just be relentlessly hunted by every living thing in there, which is absolutely insane. And, these animals, these creatures, yeah, he might be, the so-called king of, Skull Island, but they didn't give a crap. They were still there to, stand up to him and give him a run for his money. And they weren't going to give him anything easy. I mean, from the V-Rexes to the bats to whatever else that happened in there. Like, obviously he has been in tuffles with a lot of things. And I did like that he was a little bit more scarred up, very unique look to him. Even his mouth, like his one tooth always stuck up. Like it was always out, very different look, very unique look for a Kong. So in a way of like it's standing out, him as his look, his character stood out a lot more than all the other Kongs for that way of how he looked and how his mannerisms were. That is very significant for this film. But it's unfortunately, I am agreeing with Jordan where he likes the more upright Kong. I do too. I like the more 2 feet more humanoid kind of walking around. Yeah, Kong will kind of go down on all fours every once in a while, but like that kind of look is just kind of what I do like more. But it's still a decent look. Like I said, it's very believable, and obviously that's kind of what they were going for. They didn't want to go too outlandish, more grounded for a actual look and feel for this Kong. So,
okay. So, next question is, what did you want different from this version of Kong? What would you like to see him do differently? Eric, I'll go back to you on that one.
Oh, like I just stated, maybe more of the upright walking. We kind of got that when his victory roars, we got that. It was a very cool, menacing look. But honestly, I don't feel like it would have fit, honestly. This, like I said, this movie was going more realism. And so it just wouldn't have fit. Yeah, I would have loved it, but that's kind of, it is what it is. And honestly, I don't think there is anything that they really could have done that's different that could have improved the character, because besides what we got from the Monsterverse now, this movie gave so much character to Kong and the character alone that you did feel for him when he died. You did feel for him for what he was trying to do, always saving Anne. A lot of emotion, a lot of different emotions we've never seen before in a Kong, which some of you guys have talked about in the stream already, about either emoting it with his face, his actions. A lot of that stuff is just something different that we haven't seen, and that's very cool. And that's why this Kong is very unique in its own way, because it does show all that stuff that we've never really seen before. We don't see just the brute strength and the ferocity that we always get to, which he has, but there's more to him, than just a one trick pony, I guess. And I think that's kind of what, Peter Jackson wanted. He wanted it more in depth in this character. And I thought, it transcended well, on screen. So.
Okay. Nick, what did you want to see different from this version of Kong?
As in, if I could change something that they've already done, since we're talking about, a 24-year-old film, 20-year-old film. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the length is definitely problematic. In a nutshell, that is definitely something you can truncate quite a bit. You could shake a movie and 30 minutes will fall out of it. And this one, it needs a lot of shaking. So I think they could have come up with a version that is the rewatchable version, and instead we got actually more extended release. And so it's like, oh goodness. It's not the Lord of the Rings. It's not the Hobbit. Okay. This story doesn't need that much fleshing out. And these characters don't need that much exposition. So shorten it. Definitely. I also think that, we love visual effects, but when it's exhausting, Transformers did this. When your characters never get a breather, and running with the brontosauruses, they're running away from all of these other creatures, and they never get a breather. They are constantly under attack, and there's at a certain point, human nature does kick in, and it's like, screw this, I'm out of here. Okay, there's nothing on this island that's worth it anymore. Obviously, the hero is gonna do what the hero does. He's gonna be self-sacrificial, but for everyone else, they would have given up. And so there's your realism. So when you're running with those brontosauruses by itself and nearly getting smashed in every heartbeat, I know what he was trying to do, but even Jimmy running with the cliffs breaking apart underneath his feet, I'm just like, okay, I'm not watching a movie anymore. I'm watching a spectacle. I'm watching a lot of fun, things happening on screen. I'm watching a roller coaster ride in that case. And I'd rather it be a story that, it really does capture me. And so I thought, some of those scenes, you didn't need to do that. And we saw that even when they tried to do the Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, and you've got the chase scenes and the monkeys that are, swinging and things in that scene. And it's just like, it's too much. There's too much happening and not enough of me engaged into these characters. And when and we've mentioned this before, when all the secondary characters and no-name characters die off, we don't care, because at least the main characters didn't die off. And so, again, we're just kind of like, we're just along for the ride, and we're watching a roller coaster. And I would rather it be every time that we do have an on-screen death, it does impact us in a certain way. Because if we continue to lose more and more of these people, that's less of a safety net for me, in this role. So I would say, we need to, have more of that connection with the viewer that brings in the realism and less spectacle. And Peter Jackson, unfortunately, did that still with the Lord of the Rings. I mean, Legolas doing some of the things he was doing is just like, okay, yeah, you did that as a wink to the camera and as a nod to your audience who think it's cool to see him surfing on a orc shield. And it's like, yeah, that was cool, but it's not gonna happen. I'm sorry, it's just not going to. So just give me a little bit more realism. The 76 film, does that occasionally. It takes its time and slows down, kind of catch our breath and figure out where we are, in this story, rather than just be action. I'm exhausted watching it. I need to take a breath.
Okay. What about you, Jordan?
Oh, I mean, just the elements I already talked about before, just him standing upright, looking out, I guess, a little bit more of like what my appeal to what a preferred King Kong look that I would want. Specifically the Showa King Kong. I was looking through concept arts of the 05 King Kong, and this design right here, I don't know, to me, it's very reminiscent of King Kong's 1962 look, just more so specifically how sleek the body is and how much, longer the arms are. It's this design right here, kind of.
That's pretty cool.
Or also, like, if I were to give another, design, it would be based off of Marion C. Cooper's King Kong. Yeah, but I mean, that's just overall it. I mean, I guess another thing I would want to change is to make him more monster-like. For a character such as Kong. I get it, especially to, modern society with how the world views Kong now in the Monsterverse. You got to sympathize with him. You got to have a character you can kind of connect to and stuff like that to like and want to see succeed in, by the end of the movie, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. But he is a monster. he is one that needs to be feared by all. It doesn't matter the end goal of what the original take of what King Kong was in 33. The whole Beauty and the Beast concept, to me, every time I hear Beauty and the Beast, I think of freaking Belle and the Beast from Disney. I will not think about it at all. So whenever people do try to tie in those two movies, you know, as if they're one, you know, I'm like, no. I want to watch a monster movie. I want to see him claw and just go through everything that is standing right in front of him or to his peripheral. I mean, not to say it will change my opinion on Kong, you know, because my opinion will, you know, stay the same, but that would be something I would have rather have seen him do a little bit more. Because I did find that this Kong had the capability of being extremely ferocious. Just the overall scenery of Skull Island, in my opinion, this is the best depiction of Skull Island and one that I personally prefer more than any other depiction of a Skull Island. Even the natives, oh my goodness, dude. Those natives gave me PTSD from when I saw that in the theaters. So again, wanted to translate that a little bit more with Kong being just a big chungus. I'd be like, you know what? Okay, that's cool. But oh my goodness, I cannot wait to see Leslie again, because it's always a joy to see Leslie and just embrace him with a hug. Just, you know, hold him really, really tight. But yeah, I mean, overall, those are just like small little nitpicks. I wouldn't really care for any changes, or even if it was, you know, left up to me to decide. But yeah.
Okay. So I'm very curious about this next question, because we all know that the highlight of this film was Kong versus the V-Rexes.
Okay.
Is that fight one of the best kaiju fights in history? Granted, I know most of us don't
In
think King Kong is a
history?
kaiju, but
All right.
does it fall in the
right.
line of one of the best in history?
In history.
In history,
I would say
every single franchise that we've had, everything is this one of the best.
I would say in Kong's history, it is definitely one that stands out amongst a plethora of others.
Mm-hmm.
In terms, like you say, in history, like you talk about in kaiju history, absolutely not. I don't know, dude. I just didn't see how the hell he'd been able to escape 3 V-Rexes gunning for him. I'm like, yo, this is just plot armor. It's because he's King Kong. He has to survive until he falls in this big building. Like, I'm like, that is nothing but a load of baloney. For the name that is Kong in that entirety, yes. But for kaiju, absolutely. In my opinion, no.
Okay.
I think kaiju fans would draw more so towards the 33 fight rather than this one. I don't know. I feel like I've come across more fans that tie in more to the 33 fight than this one.
Okay. Nick, you like you're chomping at the bit. What's your thoughts on that question?
I think the kaiju fight is definitely a tall order, but yeah, when it comes to this fight scene, and from beginning, you got to start at the beginning. This one, as far as Kong, definitely, because it starts when Andero is thinking she's safe, and it's the camera pulls back and reveals that one that's right next to her, and the way it's shot, it's dizzying, and so that I remember in the theaters just being absolutely blown away by that, because it was surprisingly surprisingly memorable beyond all the other scenes in this film that's really what you always can go back to. So yeah, if you did want to just encompass this film, just pull that scene out by itself and watch it. And even the standoff at the end, I do love that. The fact that Darrow has to pick between the two, and it's like it's obvious she's going to pick Kong, but at the same time, it's like I'm between beast and beast. So I did see that she's really got to step out in faith for that scene, and that was pretty cool. And it's like, all right, we're about to see the final round 3 of this V-Rex fight, and it's going to end well. And so yeah, and it paid homage to the original Kong. And yeah, I did love that, and even paid a little homage to Gorosaurus. Why not? It's like he's got to break the jaw of that big mouthed creature. Kong's going to do that, and that's how he's going to win. So you just don't mouth off to Kong is what it comes down to.
All right, Eric, what about you?
See, it's obviously on the list, okay, but it would have to be far down on the list because you're talking all of kaiju. That's too much to ask, honestly. I would say narrow it down to out of Kong films, it would probably be up in top 3 easily. Because it was such a highlight for this movie, probably the highlight of this movie, honestly. And I take this scene and you can literally compare it to like a martial arts scene or movie where it was literally a constant filming motion going for start action to this point, and it went for 15 minutes of just straight action, like nonstop. There was a little lull when they were in the vines, but even that, you were like, oh crap, because you could start to see that Anne's starting to go down, and then there's a V-Rex just kind of waiting for her, and he's watching her, and then she lands on the nose and everything. Then it starts again, like it was a very slight little pause, and then it just amped up again, like it was a constant fight for like 15 minutes, and that's crazy. No other kaiju fight has done like an action sequence that long continuously and always still go. There's always something happening. So in the sense of like how good of a scene that was and how just absolutely mind-blowing is, it's up there. It really is. And like I said, it's probably top 3 for Kong fights, most definitely, honestly. But it's a tall order to say it's one of the best out of all of kaiju, because there's so much kaiju action that like it would be so hard to find it and put it on top of that list. Like it'll be on a list because obviously every kaiju fight has to be on the list because that's why you're asking. It's on the list, but like where on the list, it would probably be farther, maybe in the middle of that list, maybe a little bit farther down. But if you're talking about just Kong fights, like it's top 3 for sure. The only other ones that I would say that was probably up there is probably Kong versus the Skullcrawler, which was a very, very good one. And then Kong versus Godzilla in 2021 in Hong Kong. Like that was another great scene. So yeah, this is up there for top 3 for Kong films.
So I just looked. The fight sequence was literally 8 minutes long.
8 minutes.
Yeah, just 8 minutes of just nonstop.
Just straight. Yeah, nonstop.
It literally started after Anne hit herself in between that giant tree trunk before the second V-Rex revealed itself. But yeah, like it was like an estimate around between 7 to 8 minutes long.
Yeah, that's a
Crazy.
long time. That's a
Yeah.
long, continuous fight and shot and just going that whole time. Like it's very impressive. And
Mhm.
Leslie, I just complimented it, so I don't know what you're hearing, but I just complimented it. So
That's probably directed to Jordan, honestly. I'm gonna keep it 100.
I hope so. Geez.
This is my show, Leslie. I could say and express my feelings however
Yeah.
I want. So you know what?
Whoa.
Very true. Very true. But wait, there's more. So the reason I put that as the title is because, as you know, we'll talk about the extended edition too, and we had a lot of scenes that were put in the film that was not in the original movie, not the theatrical cut that was left out of the 33 movie for budgetary reasons that they actually was able to put in this film. So out of all the scenes that we did get from 33, but we got in 2005, which added scene was the absolute best in your opinion? So if I had that, as far as the list goes, of course the bug pit or the kind of the Mars and spider pit scene, the Triceratops scene, and what was the other one?
Yeah.
I'm blanking on it.
The piranha fish.
The piranha fish scene. Out of those additions, which one do y'all say is was the best out of the additions they did add to the movie?
I mean, I would say the spider pit scene. That's like for me, that's a no-brainer.
It's that. Simply is that. I mean, unless you're going to count ice skating.
That's
oh God.
Butt skating, maybe. I don't remember that in 33.
I don't remember Carl doing that at all.
And what's crazy is that scene wasn't even like in the original script. He went to the studio and was like, "Hey, I want to do this." They're like, "Yeah, sure, throw it in there," and then they just threw it in there. I was like, "Did you really need to do that?" That's one of the things that I've been talking about. Some of us been talking about that. You don't need. You can, like you said it best, Nick. You can shake the film and you can drop some minutes out of this film. That whole thing needs to get dropped. Like that does not need to be in there. And that's about, I don't know, 10 minutes worth of film. Like you can get rid of that and whatever. Yeah, it's a nice moment bonding, but like they've already bonded. They've already established that connection. You don't need to do any more, and stuff. So it's too much.
It's Spider Pit. It's
It's easily Spider Pit. I mean, for one, they literally in the original 33, they made that scene, showed it to viewers, and people walked out because it was so disgusting. And then never found the footage ever again, And then Peter Jackson hearing about that, putting it in his own film, putting his own spin on it was absolutely insane. And then him recreating it in stop motion and then kind of like inserting it into the film himself, like that was amazing. That would have been awesome. But yeah, it's definitely that. Like that was one of the most gruesome, disgusting scenes in this film. And then like I still to this day like hate watching it because it's so nasty and just ugly and just everything in that pit is just gross. And it's just like, oh my God. And it's just some of those creatures are so crazy looking and outlandish but like real looking. And it's just like, oh man, like I can You know, we were talking about it, Samson, when we were watching it last night, and he was like, well, which one do you think had the worst death out of everybody that ended up in that pit? And he thought it was one where one guy was trying to climb out, and like a claw comes and impales him and stuff like that. I was like, well, it's not that one. I go, pretty sure it's Lumpy, where he's literally getting slowly eaten by these worm things, and they're like coming at him. I was like, dude, he's still alive and he's screaming. Like, that was nasty, dude. And they hook onto his head and they start sucking him in. I was like, that's gross. Okay, that's gross, bro. Like, so yeah, it's that scene for sure.
Yeah.
I have an honorable mention. The Apatosaurus Stampede.
Oh.
I like that a lot too, but yeah, the bug pit, that was on a whole nother, like, I was like in theaters hoping that they were going to make it out. At that point, because the Apatosaurus already, was already a thing, but I'm like, yo, if they could survive that, they need to survive this. And if they don't, I mean, I even believed at one point that they weren't even going to be able to make it because it was just so much going on. And even when they thought they had the upper hand, just more and more and more were spawning out of every crevice.
Dude, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, man, this is it. They're finished. Finish him. And I'm like, wow. But yeah.
He saw Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom, that scene with all the bugs and the, when the crawling on the lady. Peter Jackson's like, I could top this.
And he did.
He did it. Yeah, he did it. Ugh.
God.
Gross.
And of course, one thing that we've all mentioned, all of us have mentioned, is the length of this movie, especially the extended edition added another so many minutes to it as well. So I guess I'll make this a two-part question. The extra scenes that they did add to the extended edition should have been in the theatrical cut instead of some of the other scenes that could have been taken out. We just flip-flop some of the scenes, basically.
Yeah, we just talked.
I think we lost him again, you guys.
About the ice skating. We don't need that. Put in one of the deleted. I know, you all just went away. Like, I was like, wait.
It's crazy. We're freezing on your end, and you're the only one freezing on our end.
Yeah, you're back.
Dude, what? I don't know what it is. God,
the internet hates us, you guys.
It's the internet.
Dude, for real.
It's telling us to wrap up soon.
Sorry, everybody, for crapping at it. Dude,
I think it just needs. I just think
I'll just
need shortened. That's all. It just needs shortened.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. But yeah, I agree. Some of the deleted scenes should have been in there and some of the other ones out, and I think it would have been a better movie.
Well, what about you, Jordan?
I guess I'll say the same thing. They should have nuked Kong at the end. I would have liked to have seen that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Just a big explosion.
Jesus Christ.
Oh gosh.
Tell me how you really feel, Jordan.
Yep.
Nick, what about you?
I just think the whole thing needs shortened. That's all what it comes down to. There could have been some flip-flop things, scenes here and there, but honestly, it just needed a lot of scenes taken out. Like the Lord of the Rings, they were even long when they were released theatrically, and then he added more. But there's also at least 3 books to go with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This was not a long original movie, and even the novelization even shouldn't expand upon all of this that he's giving us on screen. It's like you don't need to have all of this. I think there's a lot you can you could just do without and give us a good theatrical release of it that people can enjoy because of the length. And those who, need more, just give me more, throw everything at it. There's a cut for them too.
All right, so I'll do a rapid fire question for the scenes that could have been cut out to make this film shorter and probably even better in a sense. So obviously the ice skating part, we're cutting that out. Yes, everybody?
Yeah.
And dancing for Kong when they got to his palace in the first part, for the first time. When she's doing all her dancing and juggling and all that mess. Can we cut that out also?
I actually liked that. Seeing him laugh, that made me laugh because I'm like, oh, this guy just looks so ugly, but it's so funny. It was out of his character. It was out of the Kong character. I liked that scene. I guess they did drag it on. I guess if we're talking about shortening the film, so they could have just shortened that sequence into a much more smaller frame.
Eric?
Yeah, like that we didn't really need that. I understand it was kind of more of a funny scene and a little bit extra, establishing more of the connection between the two. But I would have been okay with it not being in there.
I'm keeping it. I think it was great. I think it was fine. It did at least bring in her vaudeville side of things. But I thought her throwing herself to the ground, though, I was worried about her a few times there because it was right at the edge of the cliff. I was worried about her falling off the edge of the cliff, doing all the dance routine and juggling and things. I was just like, get away from that edge. But I'm a dad. I'm like telling the kids, get away from there. You're going to get yourself hurt.
Or even when Kong would like push her and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, you about to fling her off the cliff, dude.
Right.
Yeah. There was almost like a no sense of, that kind of terror. So
yeah.
Same thing with like the Empire State Building. Like it seemed like it was nothing for her to be up there. I was like, dude, I have anxiety just watching this right now. What are you talking about? Like you're like, I'm freaking out right now. Like, stop moving around up there.
Or Ann and Jack holding on to one of the wings of the bat as they're flying down. I'm like, this girl needs serious therapy at the end of all of this because there's no way she's waking up the next day sipping on a cup of coffee like everything's back to normal. Hell no.
Yeah, no. And then last rapid fire question: the scene or half of the boat scene, can we cut at least half of that out of there? Can we go on the boat for? I think we was on the boat for 30 minutes, something crazy like that. Would you cut part of that out of the movie?
That was another good chunk of the movie. I like there were certain parts that they could have cut down. But I also liked it because it was, it was the build up to what would be the entire movie. The building up the horror and the mystique that was Skull Island. Why nobody ever tried to, go past, this specific part of the map. Or even, a few of the crew members that were aware of the ferocious god that was Kong. I liked Anne interacting with the shipmen and stuff like that because it would then, lead to a self-explained reason as to why they went above and beyond to try to save her while being held captive from Kong and Skull Island. That was like I said, that was a good chunk of what that movie would then be on all the way through the end. So I can't really think of anything specifically that I would have cut. Yeah, I at least for now, I can't think of anything now.
Okay, that's fair. All right. So before we get to our last question, I do want to get y'all started on the giveaway. And of course, if you don't know already, this is our giveaway item. We're going to be giving away a poster of the Peter Jackson's King Kong, as well as a 4K copy of the film. And for you to be able to win this, just type in the comments #Kong05. Make sure to spell it exactly like it is on the screen. Eric's actually holding the actual copies of them. I'll give you the big screen. Of course, both are nice and sealed up for you, ready to go. And of course, what's the better way to celebrate Kong's 20th anniversary than to have the 4K copy of it and a poster of it, which is just a really nice size poster too, actually. So definitely have to get a frame for that. But yes, in the chat, make sure to put in #Kong05.
Yes, and this is the double-sided poster. So this is like the see-through double-sided. So this is the legit stuff here. So yeah, I haven't even taken out since I got it in the mail. It's just staying right there. I'm just gonna repurpose the address and send it off, kind of thing. So yeah, this is so what you're getting.
Big monkey.
And then while we're waiting for people to put that in the chat, we'll go to the last question. Collectibles. So, as y'all know, we got a huge amount of collectibles when it came to the 2005 film. In 2005, and actually a few things after the fact also. So, the only collectible I do have from this film is sadly damaged at the moment, so I can't show mine's off. But I can show you the collectible that I do want from this film that I've been hunting for God knows how long now. But I would love to have this collectible in my collection. I'm going to share my screen real quick so I can see it. There it goes. This beautiful statue of King Kong versus the V-Rex, which I know this isn't completely screen accurate, but I've always been in love with this statue. If I was ever able to find it, I'll grab it in a heartbeat because this looks amazing. To me, it really shows this wonderful fight between Kong and the V-Rex. And if there was anything I could add to my collection, it would definitely be this for sure. But
have any of you guys seen that specific piece in person?
I would have bought it if I did.
My that is one of my tattoo artist's piece that he has on his studio. It is he offered, he's like, hey dude, you want to hold it and take a picture with it? Mind you, he's also busting my chops because he knows I can't stand Kong. I'm like, dude, I would take it. Like, I would hold it because it would make for a cool picture to send to people that I know would kill for this. But I was just like, yeah, no, I'm good, brother. I could take a picture from here because it was just heavy as all hell. I will say this, Adrian. Good luck trying to get that.
Oh, I know. Well, Jordan, I guess I'll go with you first because I mean, obviously, you don't have any Kong merchandise at all, and it's also safe to assume that you don't want to have any Kong collectibles.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, or no, I mentioned this off chat. Every '05 Kong figure that I owned during the time period of the original theatrical release of Peter Jackson's King Kong. I just threw all of them out. I was cleaning out my collection, and I was just like, what do I want, and what do I not want? And basically, the only things I just did not want were those Kong figures. So I just grabbed them, put them in the bin, took with me to the dump, and just threw it out. Yeah. Again, I was a youngster when I did that, and I have zero regrets. I guess the only regret I have is if I still had them in my possession, that would have been a big giveaway item or a bundle for anybody here tuning in. That would be the only regret I have. But yeah, I don't. Other than this hoodie that has his name, right here, I don't own anything else.
What about you, Eric?
I don't have anything whatsoever. Like all I have is the movies. That's all I have. The Blu-ray when it came out initially, and then when they re-released it as a 4K. That's all I got. This is I have some Kong 33 stuff, but different movie. And I showed, I think, most of that off during our 33 Kong discussion. So yeah, I don't have anything 2005. Mm-hmm. It is coincidental that as we were, going to have this show, what was it, yesterday? There was a festival going on in Japan that X Plus is actually going to be releasing a model kit of the Kong 2005. Mm-hmm. He's standing on top of the Empire State Building with Ann Darrow in front, kind of calling off the planes. So that's kind of coincidental. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't really know of much collectibles that Kong 05 actually had. I wasn't really looking for any of that stuff back in the day. So yeah, I just got the movies. So next.
Nick, what about you?
All right, I'll switch cameras here. Only of the 05 is the Mezco right here, which I actually got as a discounted product because his arm was broken, and I was able to repair that. But those arms are so beefy that it's easy for it to fall apart. So yeah, of all the Kong stuff, I've got more than this, but I've got a few things that just made up this diorama basically here. There's that little Imperial Kong that I found out.
Yes, baby. Yes, baby. Let's go.
And this McFarlane I found just literally this week, actually.
Wow.
So yeah, excited to get that guy opened up for the show. But yeah, this one, $50 at my favorite toy store to go to, toy department, in Hamilton, Ohio, and it's they discounted it because of the arm, and I appreciated that they did that, and it was, other than that, in great shape actually. So but yeah, as far as the 05 one, that's really all I have. And of course, the home video releases, the DVD and Blu-ray of the original, and then the one that came out later that was called the extended edition anyway. So yep, that's what I got as far as collectibles. So yeah, you'll see this at some point on a box day on the show at some point.
Nice. That's awesome.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, so all gone, and it doesn't look like, well, we have one entry for the giveaway item. So I guess I don't have to spin the wheel or pull names or anything like that. The winner is going to be Nathaniel Parman. His second Kong item that he's won from us.
Literally, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Nice pick, Nathaniel.
So go just thing, you know the drill. Send us the email, and it will get that sent out to you ASAP. And that's all. That's all we got for the show today. Of course, thank you everybody for going down this journey of this lovely film that's 20 years old now, which makes me feel even older since I was already a teenager when this came out. But does anyone have any final thoughts on this film?
You were how old?
14. I was 14.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Still not as old as Leslie.
That's true. That's true. That's us all.
I think he left. So.
I think you did too.
Goodness.
I guess my final thoughts is Kong sucks, Godzilla rules.
Oh,
That's it. That's it.
Oh, God.
Too sweet on
Oh my God.
that. No, but on a serious note, to anybody that tuned in, including you, Nick, thank you for chiming in. And of course, supporting the show. Shout out to all of our viewers. Even shout out to you, Nathaniel. You are, without a doubt, at least in my life, you're the only guy that I know that has nothing but positive things to say about Kong. Maybe next to Leslie, but dude, I think you even topped Leslie. So, yeah, those are my final thoughts.
Okay. Eric?
Nothing really. It was a good, fun watch to watch it after 20 years. As much as it is long, I actually really enjoyed watching it again. I did, because it had been a long time, and I had never seen the extended version, so all of it was new for me. And seeing all that extra stuff that was in there, I was like, "Oh man, this is great! This is really cool stuff that should have been in there." So that was a lot of fun, and just kind of seeing what could have been, that we didn't get in 33, was just great. But yeah, it was still a lot of fun, great time watching it. Like I said, it's not going to be up there in my top Kong films, but I appreciate it for what it is. It still kind of kept the Kong name going, in a big gap, and honestly, like, giant monsters kind of made it kind of still relevant in that time, kind of letting people know, hey, like, we're still around here, we're going to throw something in here, little dab here every 10 years or so, but like, we're still around and we're still relevant. So I do appreciate it for what that was, and it was a lot of fun watching the film when it first came out. And it didn't maybe stick with me like it did the other Kong films, but it's still fun to watch as like a kaiju flick, a monster flick, every so often. So, and if you love it, you love it. There's no shame in that. Don't ever feel shamed if you love this movie and someone else doesn't. Always just stand by your guns. If you love something, just freaking love it, dude. Love it to its fullest, and that's all that matters. As long as you love it, that's what matters. Everybody else is going to have opinions or differences and think differently and like stuff differently. That's okay. But just love it, dude. Love it as much as you can. So that's all I got to say.
Absolutely. And again, Nick, thank you for joining us today and going down this journey with us. I know how much this film means to you, and we can't have anyone else besides you join us for this show. So thank you so much. And if you haven't heard, for some reason, haven't heard of the Monster Report, of course, go to YouTube / the Monster Report to go check out Nick's channel. He has a whole bunch of amazing content on there. You definitely enjoy yourself once you go over there. And of course, with all the news and new stuff coming out for Super 7, make sure to go to super7.com/monsters with attitude 2024 for all your Super 7 needs. Go and get a discount. It also helps the channel, helps us with giveaways and giving back to y'all. And for our next show, Eric, would you like to tell the folks about our next show?
Oh, baby. It is the Super Bowl of MWA. It is the WrestleMania of MWA. Boy, oh boy, it is Godzilla Day, baby. Again, Godzilla is turning 71 years old this year. Oh, my God, it feels so good. So, yes, join us for the Super Godzilla Day show. It is happening Sunday, November 2nd, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time. We have moved it earlier because it is a long, extended show, which will be about 4 hours or so. We usually like to hit around that mark. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to be talking news and merch discussions. We're going to have some games. I got some games cooking up for the people here at MWA. And, of course, we're going to have a live, actually, reaction to the new G-Short that's going to be dropping with, of course, the new and improved Mirror Goji, the Burning Mirror Goji, Godzilla 2000. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So tune in for that. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of giveaways. Not just one giveaway, not just two, not just three, not just four, maybe 5 or more. Who knows? But we are going to have a lot of giveaways, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff to discuss. It's going to be a lot of fun. So tune in live. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and show up. And it's going to be a whole hell of a lot of fun. I cannot wait. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Eric. Godzilla Day is always a fun time and always a fun show too. Definitely extended, so definitely make sure to bring your popcorn, bring your drinks, do what you got to do to sit tight for a good long show because we're going longer than the movie we just talked about. So,
yeah. Yes, absolutely, Michael.
All right, guys, that's all we got. Again, thank you everybody for watching. We will see you until next time. Of course, as always, we have one phrase, 3 words. Make sure to embrace the attitude.
The attitude. Let's go.
Bye.